Hey children, how are you all? I know you might be chilling and enjoying this rainy season, but you do need to take care of yourselves and do your studies regularly. Okay, children, let's not waste any more time and get into the learning mode. Today we will begin with Unit 1.5, The Necklace Part 1. So, children, before beginning with the lesson, let's have a short discussion on something that we will learn from this lesson. So, children, are you unhappy in your lives just because you do not have something which other people may have? Like, it may be expensive things like clothes, toys, gadgets, or even good looks. So, you may have the desire to have all of this. But children, you need to keep one thing in mind, that you need to be happy with whatever you have or whatever your parents can give you. You need to learn to accept your life and your lifestyle as it is and not get jealous of others' life or lifestyle. So children, this lesson was written by Henry Rene Albert Guy de Maupassant, who was a French writer remembered as a master of short stories. He has used the main character Matilda as an example. The story teaches us how the necklace, which stands as a symbol for wealth, is revealed false at the end. So, children, let's read the passage and understand the story. Part 1. Matilda was a pretty and charming girl, born as if by an error of fate into a family of clerks. She had no means of becoming known, understood, loved, or be wedded to an aristocrat. And so she let herself be married to a minor official at the Ministry of Education. She dressed plainly because she had never been able to afford anything better. She suffered endlessly, feeling she was entitled to all the luxuries of life. She suffered because of her shabby, poorly furnished house. All these things that another woman of her class would not even have noticed tormented her and made her resentful. She dreamed of a grand palatial mansion with vast rooms and inviting smaller rooms, perfumed for afternoon chats with close friends. Yet, she had no rich dresses, no jewels, nothing, and these were the only things she loved. She wanted so much to charm, to be envied, to be sought after. She had a rich friend, a former schoolmate at the convent, whom she avoided visiting, because afterwards she would weep with regret, despair, and misery. So, children, let's see the meanings. Aristocrat means nobleman or a woman. Shabby means in poor condition. Tormented means tortured. Resentful means feeling or expressing bitterness. Palatial means resembling a palace in being spacious and splendid. So, children, now I will begin with the explanation. So, children, this is a story about a middle class woman named Matilda, who was pretty and young but was born into a family of clerks. She always had a wish to belong to the rich family, but this remained just a dream. She got married to a minor official at the Ministry of Education. His name was Monsieur Loisel. Monsieur means Mr. like we can also tell him as Mr. Loisel. She lived in a very poorly built house and wore plain clothes, but she always dreamt of grand mansions and a luxurious life. She was ashamed of her status and was always jealous of her school friend, Madame Forestier, as she was rich and could afford everything. Matilda used to always think that she was born to live a luxurious life, and she was always unhappy with her husband and her life. She would always avoid visiting Madame Forestier's house because she would always compare her life with her friends. She always felt that she didn't have anything that her friend could afford. So, children, now let's read the next passage. One evening, her husband came home with an air of triumph, holding a large envelope in his hand. Look, he said, here's something for you. She tore open the paper and drew out a card on which was printed the words, "The Minister of Education and Madame Georges Ramponneau request the pleasure of Mr. and Madame Loisel's company at the ministry on the evening of Monday, January 18th. Instead of being delighted, as her husband had hoped, she threw the invitation on the table resentfully and muttered, "What do you want me to do with that? And what do you expect me to wear if I go?" He hadn't thought of that. He stammered, "Why, the dress you go to the theatre in? It seems very nice to me." So children, let's see the meanings. Triumph means victory. Muttered means say something in a low voice. Stammered means to speak with sudden pauses. M and MME means M stands for Monsieur and MME stands for Madam in French. So in English, we call it as Mr. and Mrs. So children, I'll begin with the explanation. Matilda's husband was a clerk in the office of the Board of Education. He was a hard-working and a simple man who gave her the best from his humble earnings. Unlike his wife, he was always happy and satisfied with his life. One evening, Loisel brought home a party invitation from the Ministry of Education. The invitation held great importance for him, which was in the evening of Monday, January 18th. But Matilda, instead of being happy, she threw the invitation on the table with great anger, as she did not have a fancy dress to wear for the party. Loisel was now confused, as he was very happy to go to the party. But now, on looking at his wife, he became sad. He told her to wear the dress that she wears when she goes to the theatre. So children, let's read this passage together. He stopped, stunned, distressed to see his wife crying. He stuttered, "What's the matter? Let's see, Matilda, how much would a suitable dress cost?" She thought for a moment, computing the cost and also wondering what amount she could ask for without an immediate refusal. At last, she answered hesitantly, "I don't know exactly, but I think I could do it with 400 francs. He turned a little pale because he had been saving the exact amount to buy a gun for a hunting summer in the country near Nanterre with a few friends. However, he said, "Very well, I can give you 400 francs, but try and get a really beautiful dress." So children, now let's see the meanings. Stunned means so shocked that one is temporarily unable to react. Stuttered means to say something with difficulty. So children, now I'll begin with the explanation. Now Loisel was shocked on seeing his wife crying. With great difficulty he asked her what was the matter, and he asked her how much a new dress would cost. So Matilda, without refusing him, started thinking and wondering of how much money would be needed for the new dress. And after some time, she said, in an unsure manner, that she didn't know the exact amount, but she said that she could buy a new dress with 400 francs. So, children, francs was the currency of France. Now they have replaced it with the currency euros. So now, after hearing the amount, Loisel was shocked because he had saved the same amount of money to buy a gun for himself, as he had to go for hunting with his friends near Nanterre. But children, he gave her all the money and told her to buy the most beautiful dress. He sacrificed his savings because he wanted his wife's happiness, and it was his priority in his life. Okay, children, we will now stop here. The next part of the story will be explained in the next video.